We are told that history is a straight line, a slow, steady march from the Stone Age to the Space Age. We believe that we are the pinnacle of evolution, the first civilization to unlock the secrets of the atom and the code of life. But what if this is a lie? What if history is not a line, but a loop, a cycle that has repeated itself not once, not twice, but dozens of times? Look at the way our technology operates. When a system becomes corrupted, when it becomes too complex, too unstable, or infected with a virus, there is only one solution. You do not fix it, you reset it. You wipe the memory, reinstall the operating system, and start again from zero. There is a growing, terrifying theory that suggests Earth operates on the exact same principle. The cataclysms of the past, the floods, the fires, the sudden ice ages, were not random accidents of nature. They were a procedure, a scheduled maintenance. And the most frightening realization is not that the Earth resets. It is what happens to us during the process. We are not the first advanced humans to walk this planet. We are simply the latest batch. We are the survivors of the last 0 hour. Let us look at the timeline. Historians tell us that civilization suddenly emerged around 6,000 years ago in Sumer and Egypt. But look at what happened just before that. Around 12,000 years ago, the world went dark. This is the era of the Younger Dryas boundary, a moment in geological time where the planet convulsed, the temperature plummeted and then skyrocketed. The megafauna, mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant sloths, vanished in a geologic heartbeat, and alongside them, something else vanished. Across the globe, we find the skeletal remains of high civilizations that simply stopped. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey wasn't destroyed by an enemy, it was buried, deliberately, carefully, under thousands of tons of soil. Why? Because its builders knew something was coming. They weren't building a temple, they were building a time capsule. They were trying to save their hard drive before the power was cut. Look at Mohenjo-Daro in Pakistan, where the streets are vitrified, turned to glass by heat so intense it mimics a nuclear blast. Look at the Maya, whose calendar explicitly tracks the cycles of destruction and creation. These cultures didn't fade away. It is as if someone pulled the plug. They were switched off. And when the lights came back on thousands of years later, the people who emerged from the rubble were different. They were broken. They were us. Every culture on Earth shares a specific haunting myth, from the Bible to the Epic of Gilgamesh, from the Hopi legends to the Indian Vedas. They all say the same thing. The people before the catastrophe were different. The Sumerian king list describes rulers who reigned for thousands of years before the Great Flood. It speaks of a golden age where humanity possessed knowledge given directly from the heavens. They describe a species that was taller, stronger, and telepathically connected to the gods. And then the catastrophe strikes, and the humans that come after, us, are described as short-lived, ignorant, and blind. This is not just poetry, this is a description of a factory reset. If you wipe a computer, you lose the data, but the hardware remains. What if the Great Flood wasn't just water? What if it was a magnetic or atmospheric event that effectively erased the collective memory of the human race? We see physical evidence of this reformatting in our own biology. Geneticists have identified a massive, unexplained bottleneck in the human genome roughly 12,000 years ago. The diversity of the human species collapsed. Mutations appeared out of nowhere. Science calls it a rapid adaptation, but an engineer would call it a patch, a software update. The ice sheets of the last glacial period didn't just melt, they vanished with impossible speed, raising sea levels by 400 feet. This wasn't nature taking its course. This looks like a terraforming event, a deliberate scouring of the surface to prepare the petri dish for the new culture. If you knew the reset was coming, what would you do? You would hide, and that is exactly what we find. We don't find ancient skyscrapers, we find ancient bunkers. In Cappadocia, the underground city of Derinkuyu descends 18 stories into the earth. It can hold 20,000 people. It has massive stone doors that can only be closed from the inside. It has sophisticated ventilation shafts that no primitive farmer could design. These were not built to hide from bandits. They were built to hide from the sky. In Peru and Egypt, we find megalithic stones weighing hundreds of tons, appearing to be thrown around like toys or buried deep in the sand. The ancients weren't trying to build monuments for their ego. They were trying to build structures that could survive the formatting process. They left us maps. They left us star charts pointing to the cycles of the zodiac, the precession of the equinoxes. They were trying to tell us the schedule. They were screaming across the millennia, the cycle is 12,000 years. Be ready. But we forgot how to read the warning. So what actually happened to the humanity of the previous cycle? When the reset button was pushed 12,000 years ago, what became of the billions of souls who lived here? There are 3 theories, and each one is more terrifying than the last. The first hypothesis is the format. The physical body survived, but the consciousness was wiped. Whatever energy wave or magnetic reversal hit the Earth, it scrambled the neural pathways of the survivors. They wandered the ruins of their high-tech cities like children, unable to read their own books, unable to use their own machines. We are the descendants of amnesiacs, walking through the wreckage of a world we built, but can no longer understand. The second hypothesis is the culling. 90% of the population was liquidated. The only ones who survived were the elite, who hid in the deep underground bases like Derinkuyu or under the ice of Antarctica. They became the gods of the New World, emerging generations later to teach the primitive survivors agriculture and law. They are the Watchers. They are still here, distinct from us, managing the farm. The third hypothesis is the replacement. This is the darkest possibility. The people before the flood died, all of them, and we are not their descendants. We are their replacement. We are a genetically modified, downgraded version of the previous model, designed to be less intelligent, shorter-lived, and more obedient. A new biosphere interface installed on the planet because the previous version became too powerful, too dangerous, or too uncontrollable. We are Biosphere version 5. And the artifacts we find, the pyramids, the impossible walls, are not ours. They are the leftovers of the tenants who were evicted before us. Look around you today. Look at the headlines. The climate is spiraling. The magnetic poles are shifting at an accelerating rate. Animal species are vanishing. Technology is advancing at a vertical curve that feels unnatural, as if we are rushing toward a singularity. We call this chaos. We call it global warming. We call it the technological singularity. But what if it is none of those things? What if what we are experiencing right now is the system spooling up for the next cycle? The 12,000-year clock is almost up. The signs are appearing just as they did for the Atlanteans, for the builders of Göbekli Tepe, for the Golden Age civilizations. The hard drive is full. The system is lagging. We are approaching the threshold. And the ultimate question is not whether the Earth will reset again. The question is, if the magnificent, godlike humanity of the past didn't survive the last reset, do we, in our current state, stand any chance of surviving the next one? Or is the finger already hovering over the button?